Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 801. T. Graham Brown, Mayberry fan. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out the Mayberry Sheriff's Deluxe badge. That's right, there's only one in stock, but you might want to check it out. This is really cool. These are professional Sheriff's badge. Go and check that out. While you're there, you might want to check out the Johnny Lightning Andy Griffith Show squad car. It's a little matchbook size car, matchbox car. Go check it out. And there's some cool new wooden signs. One of them is Mayberry definition. Mayberry definition says a place or feeling of belonging. It says more than that. But go check it out over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. Executive producer of episode number 801 are the folks from the Mayberry Meetup. Everybody that attended, thank you to all of them. And the High Sheriff of Mayberry for number 801 is Chris Merrill. Hello, everybody. I am Alan Newsom, the host of Two Chairs No Waiting. And wow, we had a lot of fun last week with our 800th episode. And I've had a lot of folks reach out and say things to me that were nice and just all about it. So we're going to hopefully be able to hear a few voicemails and stuff at the end of the episode from them. And if we have time, we're going to also do a little bit of trivia. And so we'll try to throw in at least a few questions of trivia. And my problem right now is I can't remember what trivia I've asked before. So you may be getting questions you've heard before, but the folks that are in our chat room tonight, as I record this, if you'd like to be a part of the chat room, you can join us on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and you can be a part. But they were telling me that even if they've heard the questions before, they'll still miss them. They can't remember. So hopefully we haven't heard these questions, but if we have, maybe you'll still have a hard time answering them. I don't know. So guys, hey, wow. I just got to tell you, last week, our 800th episode, we had all kinds of people, thanks to my wonderful wife, Jan, that she reached out to, and they wrote in and said very kind things about my 800 episodes of the podcast. But one of those that I played at the very end there was Grand Ole Opry star T. Graham Brown. And in his thing, he was thanking or wishing me well and congratulating me on the 800th episode. And he said, I want to be on 801. And I was like, wow, does he really? So, wow, folks, he is going to be on tonight's podcast with us. And I am so excited about that. He is, I talk about it as I introduce him once he's on the screen with us in a few minutes. So if you're watching the video version of the show, you'll see him. He's just got a wonderful voice. He's got songs that, he gained fame back in the 80s. With songs like Hell and High Water and Tell It Like It Used to Be. He's got a new album out right now. We'll talk about it during the interview. Guys, a huge Mayberry fan, wonderful guy. I don't want to say any more because I don't know what I said in the actual interview. So let's head over and hear from Mr. T. Graham Brown himself, folks, and enjoy the interview. And we'll be back live. Well, it's recorded when you hear it probably, but it'll be back here for more following the interview. So stick around. So let's head on over to Alan from earlier today. Hey, everybody, here we are with T. Graham Brown. Guys, this is, I know you know who T. Graham Brown is, country music star, member of the Grand Ole Opry. Oh, my gosh. And the most important thing for me and you, he's a big Andy Griffith Show fan. T. Graham, so good to have you here with us.
Good to be here, man. You know I love you.
Oh man, I have. I met you in 2021 at Mayberry Days. It was the first time I'd ever actually met you in person, and man, I just enjoyed being able to talk to you. And my wife Jan, she still talks about you and I standing at the Earl Theater there in Mount Airy, North Carolina, talking to one another, basically just doing quotes from the Andy Griffith Show back and forth to the point where they had to come out and tell us, oh, wait a minute, he has to go on. He's got to go on. so.
Well, Andy, it's like a sickness with me, I tell people. Golly, but I wonder how many episodes of Andy I've watched. I remember one time when we were first starting out, the bus. I guess it was the first time I'd ever gone out and done a show and had my own bus. And I had a stack of videotapes about chest high, really, that I took in the back of the bus. Used to, I'd watch them on VHS
right
tapes. That's long since gone, but I got all of it on DVDs.
So what got you, did you watch them just when you were on the bus and stuff? That was a way to pass time between towns and everything?
Yes. And I watched it growing up, and then golly, I guess WTBS, Ted Turner's station started airing them. I think that's where I was watching them in probably 1973, 4, something like that.
Right.
Was that who started?
Yeah, TBS. Well, TBS, they showed them for years on TBS.
When did they start? When did they start showing them? Do you have?
I don't know, but it's been a long time like that, because they showed it all the time. The Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club would always have it in the Bullet, the newsletter, that TBS, the fact that they showed it. And then, they always showed it at like, I don't know, 10:05 or 7:05 or something.
It was always 5
minutes after the hour. So yeah, that's what we all did back then, though, is we'd record episodes on VHS tape.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Watch them later. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So yeah, like I said, when I met you, and you can quote so many lines from the show. It was hard for me to keep up with you, honestly. So
well, golly bum, when you watch them as much as you and I have, it gets well, you know what it does. It gets ingrained in the deepest recesses of my subconscious id. That's what.
Yeah, I think Buzz Fluhart's the one that discovered that phenomenon. He may have been the one.
And when things are ingrained,
yeah, it's just like Barney with the proclamation and the officer of the law stuff. It's just once you got it, right?
On stage, I'll tell if I'm telling old stories or about anything, I'll tell the audience that it's ingrained in the deepest recesses of my subconscious id. Then I turn around and I'll point to the back of the crown of my head, and I'll say, it's back here somewhere. It's way back in here.
That's awesome. So of all the episodes, do you have one that's your favorite? People always ask me that, and it's such a hard question. So do you have one?
Hey, bum. That is a hard question.
I can hardly ever answer it, because it's really whatever episode I watched last.
There's the obvious ones like the Sermon for Today and Man in a Hurry.
Right.
There's some that probably most people will say that.
Right.
But, there's, golly, I like, well, like Barney's first car, I like that. I like them all.
Right.
But I really like, Barney's first car. That's pretty funny. The septic tank conversation. So what happened one time? So I was doing this interview with this guy, and this was way back when I was first had a hit, and the guy was asking me, a lot of stars, when they first get famous, they buy their parents something. Some people buy their parents a house. Some people, he named a few things. And he said, was there anything that you bought your parents? And I told him septic tanks. So I went into that whole thing about, 2 tons concrete reinforced, blah, blah, blah. That whole thing. Okay. So when the article came out, it was in there. The guy thought I was serious. And it might even have been a headline of the article: Brown buys parents septic tank. Like that. Okay. So then, back then, and they might still do it, the CMA, the Country Music Association, would put out these calendars every year that sit on your desk, and it's like one piece of paper, and you tear it off,
Oh yeah.
and the next day you tear it off, and each day had a fun fact on it. And the day of my birthday, October 30th, it said T. Graham Brown, has these little, fun facts about country stars and country music history and blah, blah, blah. And they actually printed on there that I had bought my parents a septic tank. So they didn't get the joke. It kind of went into it's so funny. They thought it was real. So
that is great. Well, that's a real story, right? Harvey Bullock told me, he was one of the writers from the Andy Griffith Show, Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wasn't the one that wrote that. It was Everett Greenbaum. But Everett Greenbaum, another writer that wrote that story, his family, his wife's family was from the Ozarks. And they actually did buy them a septic tank for their anniversary. And that's where that story actually came from.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
and that's awesome. So now you're part of it. So you're writing that Mayberry history now.
I'm forever linked to that septic tank.
That is great. Oh, me. Well, you're doing the same thing that so many of the people that listen or watch this podcast do. We say those quotes throughout the day in conversation, and people who know, they know what we're talking about. And then the other people, it just goes right over their head and ends up in the CMA calendar.
It does go over people's heads. And I'll wear Sheila out, man. But but Sheila's pretty dang good at it herself. So,
well, how could she not be if she's been around you all these years, right?
She'll throw them at me every now and then.
Yeah, Jan's very good at it too. Now.
I thought one of my greatest moves was thinking on my feet. Was when I was at Mayberry days, and they gave me the key to the city that day, and the mayor was up there introducing me, I guess, and you were probably sitting there, and I walked up to the lectern where the mayor was standing, and and I said, "Mayor, I have here 76 documented cases of malfeasance in office." I was accusing him of malfeasance. Went through that thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I've got pictures of you and everything of that.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. I see. Yes.
Yeah. You got your key to the city. You're dressed in your Mayberry Union High jacket while you're doing it. And
one of my proudest moments was getting the key to Mount Airy. I've got several keys to the city. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many, but half a dozen, maybe something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's definitely my favorite one.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
A lot of them will give you these keys to the city, and it's big. It's about 6 inches long, and there's the key part on one end of it, and the other end is a bottle opener.
That's right. Oh, or they give you some of them I've seen. They give you like a 3-foot long key. I mean,
yeah, I never have gotten one of those. I've seen them though.
I've never gotten one myself, obviously, but yeah, I've definitely seen people get those.
Hey, man, I sure was honored and happy and proud that y'all came to the Grand Ole Opry induction.
Oh man, that was such a big deal. I mean, Jan and I were so happy to be able to be a part of that. We were there the night that Vince had asked you on your Sirius radio show. He had asked you earlier that day to become a member, and Jan and I just happened. You had invited us to come up that evening, and not knowing that obviously, and so we were excited to be there with you that night. You were walking just on clouds, I think, that night.
Heck yeah, I still am.
Oh man, we were so happy for you. And you definitely deserve it. And everybody I talk to is always like, he wasn't already. I mean,
I know. Hey, a lot of people thought I was already a member.
Oh yeah.
A lot, like a ton of people.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's okay, man. I was just glad y'all came.
We were
Did
so
y'all
excited.
did y'all hang out in that back room where they had the food and all that?
Yeah, we did. We did both the night when you were inducted. Yeah, we were back there that night and got our pictures made with you
Yeah.
and stuff. But
Oh,
boy,
I remember y'all there.
you
I
had
couldn't
so many people back there. You had cake and everything backstage
never
with
did
you.
get to eat anything. Was the food good?
Yeah. The one what I liked best, and I don't know if I have pictures of it, but they had like on the back table back there, they had they had water and it said and it was marked it said wine and it was marked out and said water on it. I thought this is great, man. They did a great
See,
job for you.
I didn't even see that. That is
Yeah,
nice.
the night that you were inducted backstage back there. And in that room, by the way, and folks that are listening may not know this, but the room we were in is like it used to be the state TV studio where they filmed Hee Haw. That's where they used to film in that room. And
Yeah, I know. Every time I was on Hee Haw, that's where we filmed it.
yeah, and that was so cool. I knew it because I'd been back there with George Lindsay before, and he had showed us around, saying, "Over here's where Grandpa's window was, and the cornfield was over here," and he was showing us all that stuff. So it
I
was
wish
really fun for me to be
I
back
wish
there with you.
I wish I had copies of when I was on Hee Haw. George Lindsay and I did a couple of great skits together.
Oh, that's so fun.
Maybe I'll find
Yeah,
some.
he was always so nice to me, and just being back there in that room for your induction, to be back there with all your friends and everything, and your brother. I got to see your brother.
Yeah.
He was back there, and your son, and everybody's back there with us. And man, that was so fun for me to be a part of, and man, we were so happy for you as well, getting to do all that stuff. Uh,
Well, that was a fun night, no doubt. Hey, did I ever tell you? I know I did. About the first time I ever met George Lindsay.
no, tell us.
Oh man. So okay. So this would have been 1986 or 7. I was on tour with Kenny Rogers, and we were out in L.A. And there's this place. I don't know if it's there anymore. It used to be called the Universal Amphitheater, and right next to it was the Sheraton Universal Hotel. It was a really nice place. So Kenny Rogers and I were doing 2 or 3 shows in that amphitheater, and I was in the room at the hotel, and the phone rang, and I answered it, and this voice said, "Can I speak to T. Graham Brown?" I said, "This is he." And he said, "This is George Lindsay." And I couldn't believe it. And he told me how much he was a fan of mine and all this. This is totally out of the blue. And wanted to know if he could buy me and the band breakfast the next day. And I said, "Heck yeah, man, it'd be great." So the band and me went downstairs to the restaurant the next morning, and here comes George Lindsay. And we sat around this table. It was kind of a long, not, it wasn't a round table, it was kind of a rectangle. We were all sitting around it. And man, he just regaled us with tale after tale. It was the most fun. I just could not believe that Goober called me up. And that led to a lifelong friendship. We were good buddies too. Went on to become really good friends. So yeah, George Lindsay called me up at the Sheraton Universal. I'll never forget it.
That is so neat. Did you which other cast members did you meet? Have you met any of the
I
other?
don't know if I ever met any of them.
Oh, really? That was the George was. I knew George lived right there in Nashville, so
Yeah,
it was.
yeah. Other than him, I don't know if I don't think I never met Andy. I got a couple of 8x10s that Richard Richard O. Link was Andy's manager, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And I was backstage at the Opry one night. Golly, this has been 30 years ago,
Yeah.
or more than that. And I was talking to him about, I'm sure everybody that meets him hits on him about the Andy Griffith Show, you know.
Sure.
So he made sure I got an 8x10, and actually I got two of them. I don't know if he sent me two by mistake or whatever, but anyway, one of them, I was on Capitol Records at the time, and Andy signed me a picture. It says I was on Capitol too.
Wow.
And he was, and Andy Griffith actually was on Capitol Records at one time. So, and I got one, Otis one.
Oh yeah, Hal Smith.
Yeah, that he signed to me. And then one day I was riding my Harley over to Music Row, and this house has been demolished since then. And this would have been 86 probably. And I looked over, and in the front window of this house was a big old poster that said "Vote Fife for Sheriff." So I pulled around and left a note on the door. I said, I don't know whose house this is, but I sure would like to know where you got that poster so I could get a copy of it. Well, it turned out to be, oh gosh, what's his name? That started the whole Andy Griffith Show.
Jim Clark. Jim Clark. Yeah, Jim Clark.
Jim Clark.
Yeah.
So it turned out it was Jim Clark's house. and he tracked me down and gave me that poster. Wow. And it came from a Return to Mayberry show where Barney, the movie, where Barney was running for sheriff.
Wow.
And it doesn't have an old picture of Barney like from in the 60s. It's got
from the 80s.
But he's still dressed up like Barney. Yeah. It's just he looks older in this.
Yeah, it's picture. From the movie. Yeah, from the Return to Mayberry. Yeah,
from the movie. Yes, and
wow,
and it's a big old poster too. It's about a yard tall and big, and somebody took it over. Barney and them were having Don Knotts and Goober, and I call them by their name. It was Barney and Goober and Thelma Lou, and who else was there? Anyway, they had this thing over at the Opryland Hotel.
Oh yeah,
in one of the ballrooms where you could come and they were speaking, and anyway, somebody got it signed to me, and Don Knott signed it. So I got one of those things, and it was funny. It was Jim Clark was living in this little bitty house, and it was just dumb luck. I rode by and looked over and saw it. Wow. But he was really sweet. He gave me his copy of it. I don't know. He might have had another one, but he gave me one.
Yeah, Jim's a great guy. I mean,
he is a great. And I've gone on to know him too. Can't believe I couldn't call his name.
Wow. You got so many names you got in your head. How do you pull them all out, right? Yeah, but Jim started the Andy Griffith Show Rio and Watchers Club there at Vanderbilt, and it's been going strong for all these years. I've been been involved with Jim since the mid '80s, I guess, is when I got into the club. So yeah, he's a great guy, a prince of a fella. He's a real prince.
He's a prince, and I think we were the first rolling chapter.
Yeah, for your bus. What was the name of your chapter? What is it?
It's called Bullet Maintenance, and the reason is because we were trying to maintain our bullet in the charts. Yeah. We wanted our records to have a bullet, and I thought, man, maintain a bullet maintenance. I thought that'd be an awesome name, and to this day, we call our bus the Bullet, and Sheila and I, we call it the Bullet all the time. I mean, that's the name of our bus that we've called it the Bullet ever since probably 85, 86.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is Bullet Maintenance. I've heard about your bullet, Barney. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so that's the name of our bus.
That's great. Yeah, our chapter here in Huntsville is Mother Figure. Mother Figure.
Yeah,
Be my
yeah,
mother figure. That's where that one came from. And we years ago I started one on the internet that was a bulletin board system, and so it's called "Who's Been Messing Up the Bulletin Board" is the name of
yeah,
it. Is
yeah.
that
Boy,
it's the online chapter?
that, that was a great line.
Yeah, yeah. Who's been messing up the bulletin board? Right. So yeah, the fun thing for me is when I read the bullet, the newsletter for the Rio and Watchers Club, and now it went from the bullet to the pocket to the button because he kept making it smaller, and uh, and eventually now he's retired the newsletter, and now the Weavers newsletter as Jim wrote it for about 2 years after he quit doing the bullet, and then last year he gave it up to me. So now I've been having to write it. And so the good part is, since I'm the one writing it, I get to pick what goes in there. So I've had some stories from you in there. I had you about a year ago. You actually gave us a nice quote talking about. It said, you said Mayberry is everyone's idea. I've been a citizen my whole life, and Andy's my mentor. Barney's my buddy, and Floyd keeps me groomed. Gomer and Goober keep my tank filled, and Aunt P loves me and make sure I'm fed. Opie's my pal. All the rest complete Otis's mosaic. Fun fact from Johnny Paul Jason. If you put a horsehair in stagnation water, it'll turn into a snake. I love my hometown, Mayberry. Mayberry. You said that and sent it to us for our newsletter.
Isn't that,
And
that's a beautiful quote.
it is. It is a great quote. I mean, that was you did a great job, and we always enjoy. I think I told you. I know I did. When I met you, we were standing there doing all these quotes and stuff, and I looked over at you at some point and went and said, "Look, I know you're famous," and you went, "No, I'm not famous." I said, "Well, you're famous, but I like you because you're a Mayberry guy." so, so it has been so fun, just all this stuff, getting to know you and be around you. I feel very honored. But again, I like you because you're a Mayberry guy.
Well, Alan, I tell you what, man, I consider you a very, very, very close friend.
Well, I really appreciate that. I tell you what, you have got a new album that's out right now that I got to listen to early, actually, thanks to you. But Memphis to Muscle Shoals, your album's out, and it hit like some tops of the charts on some of the download charts and stuff I saw. So congratulations.
Yeah, man, it debuted at number one on the iTunes chart, blues albums chart, and it number 5 in Billboard on the blues albums chart. So yeah, it's doing great, man. And I sang Mustang Sally on the Opry the other night.
Oh,
Boy, the crowd loved it. They were singing "Ride, Sally, Ride."
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely something people would want to hear. I guarantee you that. I mean, I've enjoyed listening to it, and yeah, it's just fun. You have your voice. A lot of times, when people get older, their voices are not as good as they were. Your voice is amazing, man. It is so. I love listening to you sing. I do want to say this as we're talking about singing. I had the honor of singing
Well,
with Graham
Eleanor,
Brown.
but let me butt in.
Yeah, butt in.
Eleanor Poultice taught me everything I know.
Oh, Eleonora. Yes. Did you get an A in breathing?
Yeah, she gave me an A.
So at Mayberry Days, T. Graham had been there 1 year in 2021. He was back in 2022, so I got to see him again that year. And I just want to. This is my debut singing with T. Graham Brown, so you guys can hear this because this is a pretty cool thing for me. But he was going to sing Mayberry Union High, the fight song. And well, if I can get this to play for me, we'll play it. But while he was there at the golf tournament event at Mayberry Days, and now it won't play. Doggone it. So, but he let me sing with it. Oh, here we go.
Mayberry Union High, victory is yours. Well nigh, we'll hit the line for points every time. The orange and blue will try. Do the tears on your pillow bespeak the pain that is in your heart?
So I didn't realize until after we did that, I got to sing with T. Graham Brown.
You killed them, man. You killed them.
Oh, yeah. Well, they didn't leave. At least they stayed to listen for you to sing. I think that was what they were probably there for. But man, what an honor that was! Unexpected. You just had us do that, and it was so fun for me. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for helping me.
Oh man, no. Well, I don't think you need my help. I'm pretty sure you were covering for me. That's what it was. But wow, it is just so. It is always so fun. The Andy Griffith Show has always been special to me. I've talked to people before. I told them, I got into it back in college. Really, I had watched it growing up, but I really got into it in college in the '80s. And me, as well as you were mentioning, I watched it on TBS, and every evening at 10:05 it came on television. So I would sit down at about 10 o'clock and pop me some popcorn, and I would sit down and watch an episode of the Andy Griffith Show to kind of folks may not know this. I'm an electrical engineer. So I was in electrical engineering school, and it's not easy. I just have to admit, it's not an easy school. So it was a really good stress reliever for me. And it's kind of therapeutic, I guess is what you'd say.
Yes,
So, so I think that's why we all are so drawn toward it. Now, you grew up in a fairly small town, didn't you? Was it a small, is that a small town?
I spent my boyhood years down in South Georgia in a little town called Araby, Georgia. 300 people live there.
Right. So
I lived there from the 3rd grade to the 10th grade. So I spent my main growing up days down in South Georgia.
So at your when you were inducted into the as a member of you had a lot of people there from your high schools and stuff were there. They were there with you.
And you know what? My family's from Athens, just outside of Athens. I went to high school in Athens and graduated from high school in Athens, and then went on to the University of Georgia. But I moved out of Araby when I was halfway through the 10th grade. So it was so cool. I had some friends of mine from Araby from the 60s that showed up at the induction. Then I had some friends of mine from Athens, where my high school guys. So I had some elementary student friends and some high school friends that came all the way up there from Georgia, and it was great to have them, man. It was just great to see them.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to the Mayberry feel of everything. You have friends now that were your friends in high school and before, right?
Yeah.
They're still your friends, just like on the Andy Griffith Show, where you see Barney and Andy and all those guys. They all went to school together. They all knew each other, and they're all still friends years later. I think I'm the same way. I grew up in a small town, and matter of fact, we go on vacation with 3 or 4 of my other, 4 of my high school buddies and their wives. We go once a year on a 3 or 4 day vacation with them. And, we're trying to keep up with everybody. And I think the Andy Griffith Show, for me, I mean, it's not like the Andy Griffith Show is 100% matches my growing up life, but there's so many of those, like the church ladies, it ain't being you, or just like the church ladies that I grew up with and everything. And
hey, can you pause 1 minute? I
sure.
gotta go. Hey, you're gonna love this. I gotta go run a groundhog out of
no problem. All right, so he's back. He had to go get the groundhog out there. Did you get a rock from Ernest T to do it with?
No, I just went boo. I had a groundhog eat my flowers here about 15 feet from me. I saw him out the back door, and I'm fixing to go put some oranges in a cage and catch him. I have to catch the groundhogs and then take them 3 miles away from the house. They say you have to take them at least 3 miles.
Oh, to get them to stay away.
So there's a river right down from the house. So I go across the bridge and take them out there. But that dang thing. So now I know that's the first time I ever caught it.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Sheila's been asking me, what's been eating our flowers? What's been eating our flowers? Now I know.
Well, you could ask Ernest T, because he knows a lot about stuff like that, possums. And you ask a
Yeah,
little boy with dirt under his fingernails, he'll tell you about a possum or a groundhog.
opossum.
A possum. That's right.
Hey, look, if you're gonna say it right.
That's right. Oh, so as we were saying, like we grew up in these small towns, and there were so many people in Mayberry that remind me of people I grew up around, farmers and people. And I think that's the reason the Andy Griffith Show stayed around for so long.
Well, those writers got it right, didn't they?
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Uh, it's so fun. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at some of those writing sessions.
Me too. Me too. Because can you imagine just how much fun they had? Just reading through the scripts had to have been fun.
Heck yeah. Well, I bet it was fun.
Wow. And it does amaze me when I've read the scripts before, and when you think about how good those actors were, that they could take those words like that. Like there's the Floyd routine where he's talking about Bobby Gribble hating Emma Larsh. When you
That's
actually read that, yeah,
That's one of my favorite
yeah.
things.
When you read it, it just says Bobby Gribble hates Emma Larson. Now they're announcing their coming nuptials. Yeah, but Howard McNear, he's yeah. Do you see what it said on the sign? Bobby Gribble hates Emma Larson. Oh, now they're announcing their coming nuptials. The way they delivered it.
Ain't life funny?
Oh, she'll get even with him now. Oh, that's right. So, yeah, the Andy Griffith Show is just special.
I didn't even know Bobby Gribble and Emily were going together.
Oh yeah, yeah. Since high school, yeah. Can't you just see back in high school, Bobby dipping her pigtails in the inkwell? You get even with him now. Oh, that's right. Oh, well, let's see. Anything else you want to tell anybody? I mean, there's so much. You love the Andy Griffith Show. I love it. The people listening, they love it too.
Just tell them I said, hey.
I will. So again, I want to remind everybody about you got that album, Memphis to Muscle Shoals. Definitely something you want to go check out, and you can get it on iTunes. You can go to tgrahamBrown.com and get it there too. You can get an autographed copy.
Sheila's at the vinyl record pressing place right now as we speak.
Oh, wow.
So we got vinyl coming, and it's on all the, Spotify, Pandora, all that stuff, all the streaming services. And come to our Facebook page too, T. Graham Brown. All of our stuff's under T. Graham Brown, Instagram, X,
Right.
all that stuff. So
on Facebook, Facebook, you're T. Graham Brown 1 on there.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All you got to do is Google T. Graham Brown, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, so definitely go and check it out, man. He's a great singer. I'll say that to them. He is a great singer and a great Mayberry guy. So go out there and check it out. I know you're going to enjoy it. T, I just can't thank you enough for being on here. I was excited last week when I played your clip on the video that you'd sent me, and you said you wanted to be on 801. I was definitely like, you think he really means that? So,
well, you got my number. Call me anytime. I'm your slave.
I cannot thank you enough just for all you've done. It's so great to be around. I'm so glad you got that poster of Barney for running for sheriff. Glad you got that, because those are all special memories. Jim Clark, he actually was out at the filming of that. He was out there in Los Alamos, was where that was filmed. So him and Ken Beck were both there. So,
oh, Ken. I hadn't seen Ken in a long time either, man.
Yeah.
That's why. Were they in the movie? They weren't in the movie.
They weren't in it, but they were there while they were filming. So they got to be on set and got to see all those things. So I don't know how Jim got that poster. We may have to ask him.
I'm sure he stole
it. It was probably getting thrown away, and he just picked it up. That's
yeah. That's a good way to put it.
That's right. Well, sir, I will let you go. Thanks again for being here with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Tell me.
Oh, I cut him off. He was fixing to say, tell Miss Jan that he said hi as well. So, guys, that was T. Graham Brown. Wow. I was so excited to be able to talk to him. I've been able to talk to him before, but I'm always very reluctant to anybody like him, really anybody. I don't want to bother you and try to arrange, to get you into the podcast and stuff, because I don't want to take advantage of friendships or anything like that, or for anyone to feel like I am. But he has been so kind. He and his wife, Sheila, have been so kind to us to invite us up to the Grand Ole Opry to be backstage with him a few times. And, gosh, it's just been so fun to just sit around and talk. I'm hoping eventually he'll be able to come by here and see the museum here at the Two Chairs No Waiting headquarters. But wow, what a great time! I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. I mean, it was big for me. So moving along here, we have got stuff from a week ago where folks had called in, written in, whatever, to let me know about the podcast, or thanking me and congratulating me for the podcast. And I got a video message recently from somebody that I think you guys will know. So let's go hear from them.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by special correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
This week in Mayberry History, I have to offer an apology. I am so sorry that I missed the email from Jan asking me to send a video congratulating you, Alan, on 800 episodes. I was watching the episode, in fact, the 800th, and I thought, when the first video came on, oh, that's a great idea. I wish I would have thought about that. By the 10th, 11th, 12th video, I realized, wait a second. Looked through my emails. I had missed the email. So again, I apologize. I had a good reason. I was visiting what is usually called the happiest place on earth, but I made it a little bit happier by wearing Mayberry shirts occasionally. And I had a great time, but never checked my phone the entire time I was gone, and then missed the email when I got back. So again, belated congratulations, Alan. What an accomplishment. I cannot fathom doing that for that number of episodes. But again, congratulations. And thanks for everything that you and Jan have done for me. Take care.
Thank you, Randy. That's not, hey, completely understand. If you're at Disney World, which is where he was, the happiest place on earth, you're not checking your phone, you're enjoying your family. And hey, that's what Mayberry's about, right? So thank you so much for just taking the time to do that, and no need to, say anything past that. But thank you again. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that has written or called or whatever you might have done to just let me know and thank me for it. We've got a few voicemails. Let me play those. Let's hear. This one's from Tom, so let's hear from Tom.
Hi, Alan. Tom Fogel here, calling from Ohio. Just listened to your number 800 podcast, and first of all, congratulations. That's a great feat, and I try to listen as often as possible. But also want to thank you, as everybody else did, for everything you do for us as Mayberry super fans. And one comment about the show, the podcast on Monday, one thing that really touched me was you and Jan had spoke about sitting and watching TV, and all at once you would start laughing, mostly because T. Graham Brown sent you a text of a line from the show. Well, just wanted to let you know that you're not the only one. My good friend and I, my good friend Doug and I, are super fans. Run down to Mayberry, Mount Airy at least twice a year for the meetup, and as well as Mayberry Days. But we often will do the exact same thing, just text a line from the show just randomly, and absolutely always makes us smile. So sometimes it's no more than just the number 5, if you remember that one. Just hilarious. But anyways, thanks for everything you do, and thanks, Jan, for suggesting the podcast episode Monday. That was really good. And we will see you both in September. Thanks, Alan.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, see, it doesn't take much to make me happy, and probably you as well. Just the number 5. Oh, it says 5. 5 for 5 years on the 4th. It says 5. Yeah, anything like that is just going to make a smile on my face because it's a Mayberry quote. It brings back great memories. Just like a little bit, we're going to do trivia. The trivia questions always bring back memories, even if I don't know the name or the answer that's required for the question. It makes me smile remembering the episode where that came from. Let's hear. We got another email. This one's from Keith.
Hello, Alan. This is Keith Underwood in Clinton, North Carolina, and I just wanted to call and congratulate you and Jan on the 800th episode of Two Chairs No Waiting. I watch every week. I was not there in the beginning when you first started, but several years later I found you, and I've been here ever since. And it's one of the highlights of my week every week. I watch every week, and I really enjoy it. But you do a great job for all the Mayberry fans, you and Jan, and I'm sure everyone appreciates it very much. And I look forward to many, many more episodes. I'm a regular visitor at Mayberry Days every year, so maybe I'll run into y'all this year and say hello. So, again, we appreciate everything y'all do, and y'all take care, and congratulations again. Thank you.
No, thank you, Keith. That's very kind of you. Wow. It really is fun being able to run into you guys at Mayberry events or different locations. So definitely make sure you come up and say hey to Floyd. So we'll get to actually put a face with a name. Make sure I got him. But thanks again. 800 episodes seems like a lot. T. Graham Brown, one thing he asked, didn't it? He said, do you have guests on every week? And I went, no, I don't. He said, oh, okay. He said he does a show on Sirius XM radio called Livewire. T. Graham Brown's Livewire. It's on Prime Country. It's channel 58 on Sirius XM. And he does that once a month. And he said, I can't imagine doing a weekly thing like this because you just got to line up guests and everything. And that does make it much harder. That's the reason a lot of my shows don't have guests on them. It's just me talking because it's hard to arrange schedules with additional people. Thank you, Keith, for that. So we got another voicemail. Now this one didn't tell me who it was from. And when I first heard it, the singing sounded so much like Maggie Peterson, which I knew it couldn't be her, that it was a little spooky to me to start with. But I'll tell you who it is after it's over. She tells her character name that she dressed up at the Mayberry meetup. But let's hear this singing.
Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. Two Chairs Waiting podcast. 800 episodes. You never fail. But if you don't get a letter or a voicemail, you'll know we're in jail. Toot, toot, tootsie. Don't cry. Toot, toot, tootsie. Goodbye. Happy anniversary. 800 episodes. Way to go, Alan and Jan. We love you. Jennifer and Miss Clarabelle.
So that is Susan Hinton is who that actually was. There's Jan. She's going to say something.
This honestly freaked him out. You should have seen the look on his face because he's like, that can't be Maggie. That sounds just like Maggie. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so Susan, you sound a lot like Maggie in that song. And she sang that song at Mayberry events. Tootsie, she has sang that before. I was sitting there listening to it on my computer going,
he's like,
who is this?
I honestly was kind of that way too, but I figured it out before he did. I knew who she was.
It took me a minute. Anyway, thank you so much. It was really fun, but it did freak me out just a little bit when I first started. So thank you. The thoughts are very well received. We got one final one as well. This one's got a little production value to it. So let's hear this one.
Hello there. This is Leonard Blush. We have had some very nice letters this morning, and I'd like to start off today's program with a request. One of my favorites, and I hope one of yours. Oh, is Sylvia.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin.
And no, it's not an escaped convict, but something big. 800 episodes of Two Chairs, No Waiting. Wow. Hey, Alan, this is Phil Barnard, a.k.a. Leonard Blush, calling to congratulate you on such an amazing accomplishment. And even though my work schedule and radio programs might keep me away from tuning into the live broadcast each and every week, I'm always a fan of Two Chairs, me and Miss Ellie both. And I also want to let you know that it was your podcast way back in 2009, even though it seems like yesterday. I think it was around episode 100 I started listening, and that finally got me motivated to get myself up to Mount Airy and Mayberry days and catch up with all the fun I've been missing out on. So anyway, thank you so much for that. Thank you for the podcast. Thank you for everything you do to keep the spirit of Mayberry alive. Take care, brother. Keep it going, and we will see you at Mayberry Days.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. That's Leonard Blush. He dresses up as Leonard Blush during the Mayberry Days parade and at other parts of Mayberry Days and some of the other places as well. And his wife is Miss Ellie. They dress up. Great folks. And wow, I'm glad I was able to inspire you to be able to start attending these Mayberry events and enjoying yourself. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Hey, we're running long, but I'm going to go ahead and play our trivia because, you know, it's a podcast. You can always stop and listen later if you want to. You don't have to listen all at once, I guess. But let's get a little bit of music going here for our trivia. There we go. There's a little bit of trivia music going. Guys, we are going to play some trivia about sandwiches because I was told during the show by Paul Mulick, who provides me the trivia questions, that I've already done the trivia that I was asking about earlier. So we have some trivia questions about sandwiches. So if you are ready, get out your pencil and piece of paper and let's get going for our sandwich questions. Question number one. What Mayberry lad is usually seen carrying a sandwich? Okay, now if you don't get this one, there's some remedial Mayberry watching you must do. What Mayberry lad is usually seen carrying a sandwich? I'm not going to hold out very long on this. The answer is Leon. No thanks, Leon. He's got a sandwich. He's always trying to get somebody to take a bite of it. All right, that was question one. Surely you've got one question right so far. If you haven't, you got to watch some more episodes. All right, question number two. By the way, I couldn't give you a hint about what episodes because that happens multiple times. All right, question number two. Now, this one is worth 4 points. 4 points. Okay? Because you can get different sandwiches here. What kind of sandwiches does Opie prepare for George Tex Foley? There's 4 different kinds. What kind of sandwiches does Opie prepare for George Foley, Tex? Oh my goodness, these are tough. This one's a little tougher. All right, there's 4 possible answers, and you can get 1 point per. So if you can get them right. Now, this is obviously from the episode The Runaway Kid. Runaway Kid is the name of the episode. All right. What type of sandwiches does Opie prepare for George Foley? So here comes the answers. Folks in the chat room are getting some of them, at least. Here's the answer. This is the one I don't understand at all. There's these couple of these. Well, almost none of these would I eat. The answers are peanut butter and sardine, peanut butter and bologna, peanut butter and liverwurst, and one with just peanut butter and peanut butter. So if you got sardine, bologna, liverwurst, and just peanut butter and peanut butter, so they're all peanut butter. I don't know, guys. I've never had a peanut butter and anything other than jelly or maybe a banana. I've never had any of those other things, and I think I'm out. I'll just be hungry. That's just all there is to it. All right, so you had possibility of 4 questions or 4 answers. So you got to go on the honor system here. So you could have up to 5 points already. All right. All right, so here we go. Let's do question number 3. What is the only food ever offered to Goober that he declined to eat? That's a great question. Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to this. Paul Mulick, ladies and gentlemen, providing us the answers. Our chat room is trying to read into this one. What is the only food ever offered to Goober that he declined to eat? It definitely was not pancakes, because he ate 57 of them. Of course, after you ate 57, if you offered me another one, I would probably decline that. What is the only food ever offered to Goober that he declined to eat? Now, I'll give you a hint now. The episode is called The Wedding, when he declined to eat this. Okay, I'm looking at our chat room. Nobody has pulled out the answer yet. So here comes the answer. The answer is a Swiss cheese sandwich. He turned it down. A Swiss cheese sandwich. So guys, that's all the trivia we're going to do tonight. So that would have been 6 points. You could have got 6 points total you could have gotten. How did you do? How did you do? Man, 6 points that you could have gotten. Cody, he says he was going to say a cheese sandwich, but he wouldn't have got the Swiss part. You know, if you said a cheese sandwich, I think I would have just about given you. Cody's in our chat room. Again, if you'd like to be a part of our chat room, we are live recording these shows on Monday, p.m. Eastern time is when we start. So, all right. That is all I have for us tonight, guys. We have just got too many minutes heading into this podcast that I hope you have enjoyed, because wow, what a great treat we had to be able to have T. Graham Brown here on the podcast with us. And definitely there'll be stuff in our show notes giving you all the information about his official website, which is tgrahambrown.com. And he's got links to his Facebook page, Instagram page, his store where you can get From Memphis to Muscle Shoals, his newest album. You can pick it up there, an autographed copy of it. And he said he was going to be having actual albums, vinyl as well. So definitely go and check that out. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for everybody who called in, sent a video like Randy did. Thank you so much for all the congratulations for the 800th episode. 800 is a big number. Wow. It's a big number. Almost 16 years. And we're still going. So guys, we will be here back next week. I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. Or you can email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or head over to twochairsnowaiting.com. There's ways to contact me right there on the page. Any of those, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, folks, have a great week, and we'll see you here on Two Chairs. Night, guys.